video is going to show you how to sew your side seams in the Getaway Bag. You have already layered your front and your back and sewn your handles on the outside of the front and back. So you've layered your outside pocket, your bag body, and your inside pocket. You've stitched it down to delineate 3 pockets on each side, and you've sewn on your handles. You've also sewn, layered, your outside pocket, your ties, your side, and your inside pocket on the sides. You've also sewn your binding on each side of the side. Your binding is a 2.5 inch strip folded in half, right sides out, and you've sewn on with a 1/4 inch seam. So you've done one, and here's your second one. Now notice how your side pockets are slightly different in length. The longer pocket is meant to accommodate your rotary cutting rulers, as it is quite a long pocket. You then can also use this ruler, which is a 6.5 by 18.5 inch ruler, to firm up the bottom of the bag, and we'll show you that in the bottom of the bag construction. So the instructions suggest that you sew one side onto the front, and then you'll sew this side to the back. You might find it just a little bit easier to sew both sides onto the front and then attach these 2 edges to the back of the bag. So we're going to proceed like that. First of all, you're going to take your front of the bag and one side, and you're going to match all of these edges except for this one, and then clip them on with these green clover clips, which I find wonderful to use. And you're going to clip them on upside down because we're actually going to sew from the other side. So make sure all your edges are even. If they're not, you can just adjust them a little bit. And then, I'm going to adjust that just a little bit. And then you'll flip this over. You're going to wrap, now the clover clips are right side up. Wrap your binding from the back, wrap it right around to the front. Tuck in all those little threads and pin it just through one layer with your pin heads facing out. That makes your pin heads easy to remove while you're sewing. So you're going to pin probably every 3 to 4 inches. Now when you get to here, it's a little bit thicker because you're sewing through multiple layers of foam. That's foam. Just press it down with your finger and pin it. All the way down. So pull tightly and pin, pull tightly and pin, pull tightly and pin. Then you're going to slide this over to your sewing machine. Now this is thick, so you're going to slide it under your presser foot. If necessary, if your presser foot is down a little further, most presser feet on most machines will rise up an extra 1/2 inch or 1/4 of an inch so that you can easily place this underneath your presser foot. Put your presser foot down, needle down if you can. Now I am using a Microtex needle. You're going to sew through this with a Microtex 90 needle. So just go ahead and get started. Now I am sewing down very close to the fold. Removing the pins as I go. Stretching the fabric over. Now when you get to this seam, I want you to stitch very slowly. Now again, if your fabric's folding over, just lift your presser foot up. Now that's going to be the thickest part where that binding is on your side seam. Just continue to sew. If necessary, pull the fabric over. Continue to sew down. Now the binding will be a little bit longer than necessary. And you can trim it before you put your binding around the bottom of the bag. So continue to sew down. Move that pin so that I get no folded over fabric. And that's it. So you'll then sew. You've sewn this seam, so this is now finished. So it will show on the other side. Then you will sew this side to the right side, and then you'll sew these two edges to the back, and you will have finished with your side seams.